Hey loves, so I wanted to make this video to go along with my home buying process series because one of my loves asked the question that I think is great to be like the next video. So this was asked by my love Tawana Allison, and her question was how did you cut your expenses and overall, and how were you able to save? Okay, so for my husband and I, when we first began the saving process, we didn't have any babies, but then we got pregnant and we needed to move into a bigger space because we just didn't have the room for any other people to live with us. We were in a 1-bedroom. And so we decided to relocate, which basically took all of the savings that we had at that point because we had to pay first and last and movers fees and, all that stuff that goes into moving. So then once and then in addition to being pregnant, and then that move, I ended up being put on bed rest because my son was high risk. So now we've moved into this bigger place and now I'm not having any income, and it was just horrible. So once my son came, there were a lot of things that changed. I did go back to work, which was great, but we still were in a situation where saving wasn't going to be the easiest because now we have this new mouth to feed. So I just give you that little bit of background to just show you that it wasn't as if their times weren't hard, and I sympathize with those of you who are in that situation. I would like to start off by saying not everyone needs to be a homeowner, although it is definitely a great place to be. I don't think everyone is prepared for it, nor can everyone afford it. So it has to be reasonable. Everyone might not be in the financial situation, or circumstances might not be fitting for you to go get a home right now, but it doesn't mean that in time you might not be in a better place where owning a home is a reality for you. That's what I'm trying to say. I hope it came out right. Basically, the way that we saved was we created a budget. I'm really good with money management, and so I looked at all of our necessities, like the rent, the bills that we did have that could not be changed, and I looked at some of the basic things that we needed to live, like car insurance, rent, food, and things like that. And then when I analyzed all of that and just took into consideration that if everything else was able to be reeled in and we could cut back on everything else outside of these things, how much could we save? And then from there, we saw that it was a couple $100 every pay period between the two of us. And so we started saving from there. So not eating out, it's so hard not to eat out, but that will save you so much money. Take alcohol out of your grocery bill. And it may not be like you go to the grocery store to buy alcohol. That's not what I mean. Although in New York they do sell it at the grocery stores. You might like wine. You might like hard liquor. You might like beer. My husband loves Coronas. I love wine. I love Moscato, and I love many Chevets. I know this is not like real wine now. I'm not like, a wine connoisseur. But if every month I bought a bottle of Moscato, a big one, to last me like the whole month, because I'll just drink a little bit of it every couple of nights, that's like $25, or if my husband buys a case twice a month of like Coronas or something, that adds up. So cut back on that kind of stuff. Take alcohol out of your grocery bill. Cut back on how much you eat for like work, because you order out for dinner, but do you buy food at work? I put myself on like a $25 budget because not only would I just buy food for work, I would buy it out of laziness. I would literally go buy breakfast that I could make myself. I feel like breakfast is one of those things that you don't have to go out and buy. If you spend $3, and this is somebody who's a city girl, so obviously to you people who are watching living in like the country or the suburbs, it's not realistic. And now that I live where I live now, I know that that's not realistic. But if you live in a major city like I did, I was living in Brooklyn and I was working in New York City, going to work. It's so easy to just go and buy a $3 egg and cheese sandwich every single day because it's convenient. I don't have to wake up any earlier than I already have to take care of the baby and take care of myself and then go out to work. I don't have to do that. I could just leave at a normal time, walk in the store, and within 2 minutes I have breakfast for $3 or $5 with the coffee. But that's expensive. $5 every single day for breakfast is $25 a week. And $25 could buy you a week's worth of bagels. It could buy you the eggs to make that sandwich. It could buy you the coffee, and a lot of other things, snacks for work and so on. So that was just $25 on breakfast. And then I would buy lunch and then sometimes come home and order dinner. So you just lose a lot of money by ordering food out. So we cut that back. We still gave ourselves a budget for it. Like I said, I gave myself $25 budget, but I thought more about my choices. Once I knew I only had $25, I would not buy breakfast anymore, and I use it for lunch because lunch was the hardest meal for me to prepare and to take to work. So that $25 was divided over lunch, and then if it ran out, I packed a tuna sandwich or something. The other thing that I did was we cut back the like miscellaneous money. Like, you know how you just go to the store and you pick up this and you swipe, or you go here and that looks nice and you swipe, or you go buy gum and you swipe, or whatever it may be. You see something on sale as you're passing by the window and you swipe. We took out that. So, and we checked ourselves. If there was an extra swipe, I was pointed out. So we made changes like that. We made seasonal changes. We would go shopping for clothes and things like that within the season, and we would prepare for it. So we would cut something off, you know, at the beginning of the month, or take less of something at the end of the month so that we could have a little bit more money to allocate to seasonal purchases like clothes and Christmas gifts and things like that. What else did we do? We put the money away into an account that was not linked to the debit card. That helped to keep us from tapping into it, because you had to make a conscious decision to either go into the bank and transfer the money to an account that you could access it, or go on your phone and like do the whole app thing. But we were pretty serious about wanting to get this house, so we didn't do that. My husband and I checked in with each other like once a month or every other month. We would have like a family meeting, just us. But those are essential to see where we were with things, if we were able to save on track as to what we thought we were going to be doing, or if we had taken a hit somewhere because of something that comes up. You know, there's things you don't think about that come up even if you make a budget, like cars. There's so much maintenance goes into cars. Or you get sick and now you have to buy a medication or something like that that you didn't necessarily budget, or something comes up where you want to buy something new, and those moments do come up. But when you have the house as the goal in mind, having those check-ins helps to keep you on track, because saving for a year is a very long time, and you get excited when you start talking about the planning and about the saving and that first month where everybody stayed within the budget, and then you look at 3 months later, it's March, and you're not on budget anymore. You guys have completely gone off. You didn't save anything. You have like overdraft balances because you just went on a spending frenzy or whatever it may be. So that was helpful, having those check-ins, so I could say, all right, babe, this is what we have in the savings account right now, and we spent a little bit more than we should have, so do you think it's possible to cut back on something next week? You know, I know that we're supposed to get $30 for whatever, but I think it would be better for us to just take food because we really are off course. Or we've been saving so good, we're doing so well, and we're on task, and we're gonna save this money to get this house and whatever. So those were like the main ways. The next thing outside of like the budget and the saving and the making the, you know, the changes in your lifestyle to really accommodate it was we saved our income taxes. You know, a lot of people love getting their income taxes back because it's an opportunity to like do things that you haven't been able to do that year. Maybe you're going to finally go on a vacation, or maybe you take that and you make updates in your life, like you upgrade your car, or you upgrade your wardrobe, or, you know, whatever it may may be. You know, as someone who's living in an apartment, these are the type of things that I know I used to do with my my income tax. But now with my husband and I living together, knowing that we're going to get a couple of thousands of dollars on our income taxes, it was just a no-brainer. Take a couple $100s so you can do something for yourself, just as like a special thing, you know, not coming from our monthly or weekly budget. But the rest of it, that has to go into a savings account so we can meet our goals that we have. I think the hardest part about the giving up the income tax for me was knowing that all that money was there and it was just sitting in the account. But that was also very exciting for me, is that that money was sitting there in the account for my goal. If you keep the goal, you know, if you keep your eye on the goal, then there's nothing you can't do. It was just a reminder every time I look at the account and I saw those thousands of dollars sitting there, that we're getting closer and closer to our goal and closer to buying the house. Yeah, so I can't at this minute think if there was anything else special that we did per se, but I mean, cutting back and budgeting was so crucial. I mean, take the time and print out a budget. They make them on computer, I mean on the internet. Print out a budget and fill it in and see where you could cut back. I remember looking at our account and seeing that there were so many days where we paid unnecessary tickets. Like, the tickets in New York will kill you, and we could afford to pay for these tickets. So sometimes you're just careless because you think you can and you think you can, but all that money going to the city was for nothing. You know, like at the end of the year, it's like maybe $600 in tickets from January to December, and it's like for nothing. You know, or my husband would pay for parking because he would leave late, and the closer parking spot was to ensure that he was going to be on time. Well, every time you do that, you take money away from our house. So leave on time. Just silly things like that. You know, when I was pregnant with Elle, I would go to Burger King like every day. And you know, aside from that being like horrible and being unhealthy, you know, when you're pregnant, you have those cravings. But I had to get myself in check. Like, I need to make hamburgers. I wasn't going to stop eating them. But I needed to make them because it was so much more affordable than to go and buy a hamburger every day with a soda. The amount of money that I spent on that one meal could have fed me hamburgers for like 2-3 days. So just make those changes. Like, look at areas of your life right now that you're like, I could totally cut back on that. Think about things that you love buying. Like, I'm not a handbag girl, but my best friend is. And when she tells me she spends like $500 on a handbag, I'm just like thinking what I could have bought with that. If that's you, you need to just cut it out for the time being until you can. If it's shoes, if it's clothes, if it's gadgets, you know, whatever it is, you gotta figure out how to scale back until you reach your goal of getting that house and you can afford to, you know, do these things later on in life. And if you have family that can support you, then, you know, definitely ask them. My father played an integral part in us getting our home. He did give us a nice gift. We didn't expect it, but he gave it to us, which helped with furnishing and things like that. But this video is not about that. So I hope this was helpful. Saving and scaling back for your home is not easy, but if you really want a house, it can be done. All right, thank you so much for your question. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. I want to get to them, and I love you for watching. Bye.